Huge news has just hit the forecast of the next year of Conan Exiles development. Some of it being positive and some of it introducing concerns to what the future of the game is going to look like. Over the last couple of years, the amount of bugs getting added onto Conan Exiles' lofty to-do list is finally reaching its peak. Each update has introduced a plethora of bugs, which has become harder and harder to ignore. From the recent Lu Fei and Freya companions quests not progressing in some circumstances, to thralls getting shoved under the mess due to fighting large enemies, to players spawning on top of their bases, which can be pretty spicy in a sandstorm. And let's not forget, a year ago now, entire bases got deleted due to being built out in Nemedian structures. This is just a few issues I wanted to highlight out of the very large list Funcom own. Not to mention the rampant cheating on official servers has been a frequent concern I've caught wind about. It's all very concerning stuff for the fans of Conan Exiles. Recently though, we've had some positive news from Rod about this year's plans for the game. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this by now, as I'm a couple days late to the party, but to sum it up in short and sweet for you, we had an overview of 2024's Conan Exiles achievements and a blast from the past about the game's origins. Conan wasn't actually made to be a live service game that continued for years to come. It was meant to be a quick game that recouped development costs, which would give them enough funds for their next project. I am honestly not surprised hearing this. I have heard multiple stories previously from different people that the game was made quickly and was inspired by other similar games rising to fame in the same genre at the time. Either way, this game exceeded Funcom's expectations, becoming the largest success of the company in all of Funcom's history. So they kept updating it and building upon it, making it bigger and better than before, giving us 11 cosmetic DLCs, a full map expansion called the Isle of Sipta, and many free updates for the exiled lands such as companions, mounts, events, hairstyles, sorcery, and tons of system overhauls to the old game mechanics such as the journey system, the attributes, stamina changes, weapon changes, you name it. Not to mention all the artsy-fartsy bizarre items we get regularly in this day and age of the game's life cycle. All of this piled upon the wobbly chair legs of Conan's origin stories. Its foundations were never built on stone, so it's no surprise what direction they'll be taking the game next. With all that technical debt amassed after 6 years of development, Conan Exiles are officially taking a step back. There will be no more new content or features for a while, as this year they're gonna work on improving the stability of the game from a technical and a quality of life standpoint. They want to focus on fixing bugs and stabilizing the rocky foundations of the game, with an update promised for spring this year. I wasn't surprised hearing the news myself, especially as I had seen big game-breaking bugs getting released into the last few updates, and the concern from the community getting more and more severe. That, and don't forget, Funcom are working on Dune Awakening. A lot of their resources will be getting put into there, as it's Dune's launch year this year, and it only makes sense that a lot of Funcom's focus would be on securing a solid launch for their next title. It is one of their biggest projects after all, working with Legendary alongside, and securing the future for themselves as a company with something new and fresh is vitally important all around. As for the news itself, I think it's very positive that they are working on the game's rickety infrastructure and securing the state of the game for the future to come. The Age of Sorcery was great, and the battle plan to have updates every 3 months was incredibly exciting. It was definitely a positive change at first. However, over time it became punishing, having such a short time to whip up new content it made the game flop in some areas, whether that was major bugs making it through or half the intended features coming out with the other half promised in the next chapter. I initially really liked the idea of having an update to look forward to and thought it was neat. It was a great way to hype up the community as they'd have some fresh and new content to expect. From seeing how the previous couple of ages have gone, I do feel like it might be worth zhuzhing it up a bit once again, taking it from a more manageable perspective and doing really big chunk updates once or twice a year, without the stress of time gating it to 3 to 6 months, as when you do that you set expectations. I hope that in this time period of repairs they keep the community regularly updated on the bugs getting addressed. I feel like this will be key, as I've seen many concerns and comments of the game going into maintenance mode before death. It will be ever so important, if that is not the plan, to make sure you're keeping that line open. There are many people who still really care about the game. It would be nice to know what's going on, even if it's a smaller update or check-ins with us, especially with things being more quiet on Conan Exiles. It would be great to see them take this year to focus on fixing up the game, and then when they plan to go back to content, to surprise us with a really big and cool, awesome project they've been working on. Come back into the scene with flair and something everybody could look forward to. Something that brings the players back and makes them excited to play Conan Exiles once again. I really don't want to see the same update churn cycle of some small parts being adjusted or added and then being the main meal of the content update. I do think that they will want to hit it with something substantial upon return, if they want to get the community excited to dive into a new playthrough. As said though, I am not expecting a huge amount this year, and maybe even the next, especially with Dune Awakening on the horizon. I don't imagine Conan Exiles has a big crew working on it right now, and a good portion of the developers have been moved over to working on Dune. You'll probably still see the Bazaar getting updates with the upcoming spring patch, keeping the art team nice and busy, but nothing huge mechanically or new. A word of warning to players who play long term on the game without breaks: if Funcom are planning on stabilizing and having a chip into the foundations of the game, I imagine this won't come without a few hiccups. Sprucing up the core game files can be pretty risky, as it can have knock-on effects, so I wouldn't be surprised if this year brings some rockiness in between patches as they sort through the base game files. It is quite the monumental task, so beware of that, where some things might get repaired, others might break, whilst they go through this period of time. I look forward to seeing what Funcom are cooking up in the Exiles kitchen. I'm really glad they've been upfront about their intentions for the updates for this year, and that they are taking time to fix some really important components. May the fix list be lengthy and the coffee plenty. Let me know what your thoughts are about the changes in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your feedback on the situation. What do you think Funcom should do next after fixing up the game? Make sure you subscribe to stay updated. I'll let you know when things Conan are happening, so if you want to take a break and play some other games, I will keep you in the loop about new information when it arises. And I'll also let you know about some other cool releases to keep you occupied throughout the year. So stay in touch, thank you for watching, I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!